last week. And Danelle, you're up.
All right. Give me 30 seconds. All right. We are live on Facebook. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank everybody for being a part of 1 Million Cups. We're a community of like-minded individuals. Really just wanted to take our business to the next level. If you can do me a favor, for those of you that have a phone and have an app, if you can go to the 1 Million Cups Facebook, 1 Million Cups app and check in on our 1 Million Cups app. And it works for 2 ways. Number one, you'll be able to connect with the individuals that participated in today's event and know who's here. And so if you connect on there, you'll be connecting with the people that are on this call. In addition to that, it also helps us as an organization. We get all of these little points and you get cool stuff. We get cool stuff like shirts and mugs and all kind of pretty cool stuff that we can give out to our presenters. And so if you log into that app and check in, it'll work for you and work for us. I know you guys want to meet some cool people and we want to make sure that we got some cool swag to tell everybody about 1 Million Cups. So next slide. So we're all about entrepreneurship, community, and education. And our mission, the mission of 1 Million Cups, is to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for all types of new and aspiring entrepreneurs throughout the United States. And we have 3 pillars: presentations, not pitches; authentic connections, not networking; and we're run for the community and by the community. In our culture, I want to make sure that we understand that this is not Shark Tank. This is not how to make our presenter look bad. It's about helping our presenter through whatever issue, opportunity, or challenge that they present us today. And so it's not about you liking the idea, but it's more about you helping that person achieve whatever goal that they have. We never know what's a great idea, but we do know that we're here to support each other. And so if you can support our presenter today, and as you do always, that would be wonderful. And he would love us for it. So next slide. Somebody asked me today, they said, how do we join the community? And I'm glad you asked. So what you can do is, while you're sitting there on your phone, if you haven't done so already, go to Facebook and put in the number 1 MC Fairfax and find our community on Facebook. We're also on LinkedIn as well. In fact, the picture that I took will be posted on both platforms. And we also have a Facebook group. So you can find us on social media. You could also go to the 1millioncups.com/Fairfax and you can follow us there. That way you can get any messages that we have. You know, it may be a snowstorm or something like that, and we'll let you know that we're on Zoom and we're not affected by it, but we may want to get that message out to you. So follow us on all platforms. Next slide. Nobody laughed at my joke. That was funny. I worked on that all night. Okay.
Too many people on mute.
Oh yeah, people are on mute. So I'll let you guys off the hook. So our organizers, we have an amazing group of organizers, except that first dude in the left-hand corner. But our organizers are volunteers. We don't make millions of dollars by doing this, but what we do make is authentic connections with the individuals that come to our community every week, and we get to help out people, other entrepreneurs. So I want to thank our organizing team. They're an amazing group of individuals. And we also have brand ambassadors. And our brand ambassadors are the people that help us get the word out. They help us get presenters. And so we're grateful for our ambassadors. And we have a couple on today. In fact, Dan Linder, he presented last week. Not only was he ambassador, but he brought himself to present last week. So Dan, if you want to talk a little bit.
Yeah, thank you very much, Donnell. I have been a member of, or been coming to 1 Million Cups for years now. It's always nice to talk to people and get great ideas. And I was very appreciative last week. I've been in business now for about 5 years, but it's always nice to get fresh eyes on things and fresh feedback. So thank you.
Thank you. And we also have John Foster on.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. It's John Foster. I'm a ambassador for Green Fair Organic Cafe, And this is a highlight of my midweek being here because it gets me through the rest of the week. I haven't had the opportunity to participate in 1 Million Cups because it is a wonderful opportunity to share and learn here. So glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Do we have any of our other ambassadors? Those are the two that I can see on screen.
We have Gresham here. He's presenting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gresham. Duh.
Well, no, I appreciate that, Donnell. Yeah, I thought you were building up the suspense. So I know Dan kind of blazed the trail, so I get the opportunity to present today. But yeah, for a lot of people that are just kind of visiting for the first time or been here for a while, it's a great resource to learn about other businesses, learn about yours, and just come up with solutions and ideas that can help solve problems. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
No, thank you, and thank you for presenting today. Our space sponsor is Office Evolution. John.
Thanks, Donnell. Good morning, everyone. I'm John Yu with Office Evolution. We are a co-working and flex space provider located right here in Tyson's Corner. If you're looking for a virtual office situation or looking for just a meeting room space, feel free to reach out to us, Office Evolution in Tyson's Corner. And this month, our coffee sponsor is Leap High Creative. Let me hand it over to Lisa, who can tell us about her business.
Hi, everyone. I am blessed to be in the shared workspace at Office Evolution, and I recommend it for those of you who are looking to get out of your house and just connect with a great set of people. It's been a life changer for me. What I do at Leap High Creative is support other creative agencies through back-end WordPress development as well as content services. And I will be presenting next week, so you'll get to hear more about that.
No, thank you both. Now, how do our virtual meetings work? Thank you for asking. So we would love for you guys to jump right in, but before you jump right in, we need you to raise your hand virtually. Our moderator will let you know when you're up next, and you say your name, unmute, then say your name, and then talk about whatever question that you have for our presenter, and then please place yourself back on mute. Please keep the questions to one, and then if you need to ask another question, we'll put you back in the hopper so we can get you back up to help out Gresham today. All right. So without further ado, Gresham, I think you have been here since day one, right? I think you were at the first event that we did, if not the second, or something like that. Yeah.
I was here a little bit after, but yeah, once I heard about it, I came.
So Gresham has been with us since 2018. He's one of the initial presenters of 1 Million Cups when we were trying to figure out this thing and try to figure out, how we can best serve our community. And so it is pretty cool to have him come back and ask I think this is your third time or second time? Third time. Yeah, it's your third time presenting with us. And so that just lets us know that you really trust our feedback. So without further ado, Gresham, the floor is yours, sir.
Awesome. No, I appreciate it, Donnell. And yeah, definitely one of the big things that I talked about is getting the opportunity to kind of present on different ideas as an ambassador, getting to give back on that. But loads of great information. But today, my challenge questions are, what are you looking for when you're joining a business community? And what are you willing to invest? And that could be time, talent, money, resources, just anything, et cetera, related to that. So I'll go a little bit more in depth about, what that is and what I'm working on. So basically, when I presented last time, I had a podcast idea that I wanted to make a daily podcast, which is called the I Am CEO podcast. And the goal of that was really to create like more of a systematized way to kind of do podcasts and use it as a way to kind of network and connect with people. So even before that, the other time I presented, I had a blog called CEO Blog Nation, which was basically a way just to kind of showcase entrepreneurs, business owners, let them know about resources. So I bring all that up to say is that I've been creating and been co-creating, I guess you could say, a lot of content over the past, a lot of years, probably about 8 or 9 years in some form, shape, or fashion. And on this, on the right side, you see some, important statistics or things to just kind of take into account. So I've done 1,400 podcasts, between, when I presented and even now. I have 6,400 blog posts. We get about 20 to 30,000 views each month on the different sites. So one of the reasons I come here today is just because I'm starting to build what's I call a CBNation community, which is kind of like an umbrella of everything. I'll go a little bit more in depth about what that looks like, but essentially I'm kind of phrasing it as a global content-based chamber of commerce. So thinking about like all the benefits, opportunities that come from chamber of commerce, but from this vantage point, it's going to be very content-based. So the idea is that using and leveraging that content as a way to kind of connect, build relationships, get resources, get all those things and opportunities, kind of like a chamber of commerce. So that's one of the big things that I wanted to kind of talk about today. And the problem that we solve is really about helping enterprising individuals, organizations to succeed at the end of the day. The way that I try to approach that is I have this equation I always go back to where I say visibility plus resources times connections equals success. And all that means, just like, Donnell went through the pillars of 1 Million Cups, these are the pillars that I'm trying to focus on. That visibility piece is just getting the opportunity for people to talk about what it is that they do, how they do it, and why they do it. Do that in, whether a blog, podcast, or video, interview or something along those lines, to find out about resources like 1 Million Cups, just other resources that are available in the area that maybe entrepreneurs, business owners, people that are starting or people that are even trying to level up maybe don't know about. So that could be anything from organizations, that could be, oh, did you know about this app or this resources? I call them hacks that you can kind of leverage, or even just how important like the morning routine is maybe for your day-to-day. So the idea is to really learn about those resources. And then the big part, which is one of the reasons I'm here today, is the connection piece. So that hasn't been as developed as I wanted it to be, which is one of the reasons that I wanted to kind of come here to talk more about that. How do you connect with those people that are kind of like-minded, maybe have different things that they're going through? And that's what I want to build the community around. So like I mentioned, it's like a global chamber of commerce, but with content, lots and lots of content, as you saw from some of the statistics. And the good way, and actually had a guest on my show, and he talked about content-based networking. And what that basically means is that if you're on a podcast or if you're in a roundup post or something like that, of course, it's great to get features because there's a lot of opportunities related to that. But what if you can go deeper and actually get connections with people that were featured or with the host, or find out about other podcasters? So trying to kind of create a community around that kind of spirit. And a lot of times, I get questions around that business model piece. And the big thing that I wanted to launch is that it's going to be a freemium based community. And what that basically means is that just like the apps and Dropbox and different, SaaS tools that you hear about, the idea is that it would be free to join, and then there would be paid opportunities, whether that be events or potentially being in more of a niche focused community. Also, I've been building, some revenue through affiliate content. So the idea is that you build a really strong base of people, and then if they want to buy, like say a software, if they click and they purchase, then we would get a commission based off of that. Sponsor content and paid opportunities, especially for really big brands. Like I did something for Alibaba, where they were looking for creating and sending out sponsored content, and then just paid products and services that I talked about as well. The next slide. So this gives you a little bit of an idea of the journey. Like I mentioned, I think I probably presented at 1 Million Cups, maybe back in the Prince William one, actually, probably back in 2013, maybe 2014 or something like that. So this just tells you the journey of everything that I've been building. What I really think that this is going to be more of the glue piece, because it's just been kind of content to some degree. It's not been as much connection as I want to have. So that's really the piece that I want to try to bring forward. But it started out from a blog and looking to try to build, the community, based off of people that have contributed already, is one of the big aims that I have. So this is an idea of who I'm trying to target. Just as I mentioned, one of the big kind of missions I have is like targeting enterprising individuals from niche spaces, looking and investing in their success in some form, shape, or fashion. Again, that's related to that visibility resources and connections, opportunities. So really what I'm trying to focus on in the very beginning is those people that have already contributed, because there's somewhat of a warmer type connection. But I know that as you build it, people that maybe haven't even contributed will probably be people that want to try to connect as well too. So that's where you see the secondary market, where it's enterprising individuals and niche spaces, and then acceptable people as well too. One of the things that I wanted to kind of hammer home is about the niche spaces. The way that I've always tried to focus on creating content is, for example, if you're an entrepreneur in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, you might want to know about resources that are local to here. If you're an entrepreneur that maybe is a plumber, you might want to know about service-based resources, or potentially about the plumbing industry. And you may not be as important, related to finance. So when I say niche spaces, it's like creating those niche opportunities within a larger community that people might feel connected, like Donnell's building and the veterans, just weigh the opportunity to kind of connect with those people that potentially have those niche communities that they want to be a part of. And next slide. So competitors that I'm really thinking that exist are going to be your local chambers. The big thing about them is that, of course, they're very necessary, and that's one of the reasons I looked at that model. But it's not as broad-based typically. So how do you blend a little bit more of the local chamber feel, not necessarily recreating what they have, but starting to let people know about resources like that are available to them. So let's see that there's a lot of potential opportunities. And the phrase I hear is co-opetition. Single category networking groups, that's how a lot of people will, network, get opportunities and leads. The difference is, of course, it can be somewhat limited. Often it's limited category. So that's another reason why I wanted to do the chamber model, because it's not so much that you're the only person that does what you do. There's still opportunity that could be related to that. And then there's existing online communities, whether podcasters have them, bloggers are all creating theirs, but usually they're based around that person and their expertise. The difference is, and with everything I try to create, as I'm, on the site in to some degree, shape or fashion, the goal is not really for it to be about me and my expertise. I'm really just inviting the people to do that. And these are just some of the things that make us unique. So just in the types of content that we, create. But again, I want to just kind of drill home on that community and membership feel. So again, it's just to complement a lot of the resources that are available to kind of aggregate, that information to help people, succeed overall. So while there's definitely a lot of resources that cover the quote unquote most successful entrepreneur, and that's all relative. The goal of what I want to do is to provide an opportunity for people to kind of co-create content to connect based off of that, and just kind of go from there. And coming back to my challenge question, so told you a little bit more about, what it is that I'm doing. So around that community, what I want to know is exactly what are you looking for when joining a business community, whether you're a part of one or where you're thinking of joining one, with things are kind of going through your head, but also what might you want to invest in time, talent, money, resources, et cetera, related to different communities you're a part of or potentially thinking about being a part of. And that's it.
That was a great job, Gresham. This is Melinda behind the screen, and I'm the facilitator today. So when you have a question, if you could raise your hand using the icon to raise your hand, it'll be easier for me to see you. I do not have access to see everybody on the full screen. That would be really helpful. And then we also suggest that you put your questions into the chat, or comments into the chat as well. And with that said, I'm looking for somebody to raise their hand with the first question of the day, but I know I can always call on Jen Dalton. Jen, why don't you throw out a question just to start with? There's your hand. Thank you.
Sure, Gresham, great to have you back. Thank you for being such a great part of our community. Two quick questions, or I guess a thought and a question. I love being in a network where I can connect in smaller groups and really get to know people. So that's something that matters to me. As you think about this community, have you thought about what platforms it might be? So will it be online, in person, a blend? Will it be an online community using something like, an actual portal where people can go in and check and chat? So those are things that I look for as far as being able to have small working groups virtually or in person. But I think maybe knowing a little bit about do you have thoughts around the infrastructure and what that experience might be like? That might be helpful. And if you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah, thanks for asking that, Jen. And yeah, so I'm using a software called Mighty Networks, and it's kind of like it was built from like Facebook groups, but there's limitation with Facebook groups. So the whole idea is to build it, and it's not as noisy. You have a little bit more control over, like if you're in a Facebook group, sometimes you see the post, sometimes you don't. This is kind of dedicated related to that. My thought process was, again, around that freemium community is allowing the opportunity for people to pay for free to join the community, and then they basically pay for what they want. So if they do want to be a part of a niche space, I call it spaces, but communities, they're able to do that. And that's where I was looking to try to make that transition. If you're like in a group with 1,000, 10,000, whatever people, and then you want to actually get that more, I guess, sacred space where you're not, hearing a bunch of things from so many different people, you have that opportunity to upgrade to that.
I have a quick question, and then John Norse is next. And something that I asked you while we were working on your presentation. How do you make money? What are your sweet spots to make money with your community?
Yeah, I think the paid opportunities is something that I definitely want to do. But my thought process was with the people that are on that freemium level that just are there and they're not actually paying. My thought process is that they can pay for, potential, events or something. If they, and I didn't answer this, Jen, but if they do want to go to a virtual event or in-person event, they can definitely do that. But also the big part, it was kind of building out more of those affiliate links. So on my podcast, I asked for something called CEO hacks. And they're tangible things like apps, books, and habits that people have that make them more effective and efficient. So I have like a whole directory of those. So my thought process about that is potentially, sending that out a lot more to the people that are at the freemium level where they're not paying directly, but they might be paying for something. And I'm just the bridge by which, or the site is the bridge by which they can find that.
Thank you, Gresh. John, you're next.
Hey, Gresham, great job. What my thought was, what I look for in communities is resources and education. So for example, I'm a participant in SCORE, which is through the Fairfax County. And I'm saying I have access to a SCORE mentor. I am involved with the small business, the SBDC at George Mason. So they have monthly classes. Most of them are free. I think some historically may have charged, but I look for, like Jen was saying, people that connect with and learn, and then also knowledge and expertise. Sometimes I may need to just learn if I actually have a problem before I go looking for who might be a solution for that. I believe in, I'm a lifelong learner. So I think an educational platform of any kind would have value to any small business owner or just any professional that's working. So that's my thought. I have, you've been kind enough to post me in a couple of your things. I think you do great work, just as an aside. I think what you do is great.
Thank you. Great to see you, John.
Looking for hands. In the meantime, I have a suggestion that you add a component of an event calendar that's easy to fill out for organizations, because that can become your resource for people you want to go after, groups you want to go after, and partnerships. So
thank you. Yeah, that's a great idea. I don't have it activated as of now, but there is that. And that's something I was thinking of too, rather than trying to do all the events. I think that's a great idea, because my goal is also just to say this, did you know about X, Y, and Z?
yeah, and that way, if people keep coming to you as a resource, they're going to want to be part of the community.
Right.
It's going to feed each other into making you grow at a much faster organic pace. So thought I'd throw that out there. I'm looking for more hands.
Thank you.
I know I can always get a question out of Danelle. So Danelle, why don't you throw out a question? Because I know that you've got similar things that you're doing.
Yeah. So, no, I think this is great. I'm actually here learning with you because we have a community. We just built a community, and our platform that we use right now is WordPress, and mine is built behind access to community and resources that you can't find, within the veteran community. There's over 40,000 free resources in our community. And if you go ask Google, they will sell you one of them. And so being a part of our community, that's something that you can find. What are some of the things that you feel like will set you apart from all of the other resources like the chambers and all of that, that people, constantly ask you about?
I think that's where the content part kind of comes in. That's like something that I hang my hat on, a lot more just individually, but I think, just from the amount of content over the years. So I think that my goal is really I feel like the chambers, at least from my perspective, are more kind of, they're not necessarily being like the expert, like you see that I know X, Y, and Z. It's not as much that. Usually they're bringing people in place. So I kind of see the same type of way, but just using content as a way to potentially do that a lot more, and being that as the bread and butter. I think from what I've seen, like chambers and other organizations, they're a lot of times event focused, but I want to be more content focused, and then complementing, hopefully, connecting and collaborating with other organizations, because my goal is to be a little bit more of the bridge, rather than, and then of course, if something exists, then, try to create that. But I think there's a lot of, like you said, there's so many resources that people don't know about already.
With your site, is there a way that they can, if they're not paying attention at the time that you post it, would they be able to search that content?
Yeah, so the Mighty Networks is the community piece, and then I also have, like, each of the different sites is built on WordPress, and yeah, so there is something that's installed. I also have a digital marketing company too, so we built a site where you can actually search throughout all the different sites, so you can go there and of course search. I'm hoping that the community will also be able to organize that content a little bit more, because it's just kind of like you said, a Google search where it might not be as laid out as it could be, and I'm hoping to kind of make that easier too, to save time.
Okay, one last question.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about community, is there a place or a space that you're going to create for them to meet?
Virtually, that's what Mighty Network software does. Is it is a virtual, it's kind of like a Facebook group, but it isn't, you get the direct, and you can send them direct messages, things like that. You can send messages to everybody in the group, and it can also integrate with other parts, like if they sign up for the community, then you also get signed up for like the email list and things like that. So that's what I'm thinking of, not because I've had people not just in this area, literally all across the the world, and been featured. So I've gone more towards the virtual space.
Gotcha. Okay.
Next we have Rosemarie, and then we have Precious.
Good. Oh, I'm unmuted. Great. Good morning, Gresham. Great presentation. It's great to see you. Thrilled to see how your business is evolving, and that you're really engaged with helping out your community, and that you're looking to build it. My answer to your challenge question is, I think if you can grab the answer for the first question, the second question is almost unlimited, right? So the answer to that is whatever time it takes, however much I can give to other people, and the ROI will present itself in terms of money. So I love that you're asking us for help in answering that first question, which is fantastic. What I look for when joining a business community, and that I'm involved with a business community right now, we have a set of core values. So those core values are very resonant, not just with the way I present myself in a professional situation, but also with how we want to assemble our community. So I think a lot of what you're working on in terms of providing content, the discussion of what people will do when they come together will be key for drawing your community together. And that's the very first thing that I look for when I'm contemplating joining a community. So what is the goal, the ultimate goal of participants in that community? And what are the core values or the mission of that organization? So I know that you'll define it very well. And I know that you'll create some stunning content, as your community will. So I'm looking forward to diving in and seeing what's over there. Thanks, Gresham.
Awesome. Thank you, Rosemary.
Next, I'm going to do Deb Cohen, and then I'm going to do Jen Dalton.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for a great presentation, Gresham. One comment, you were talking a lot about content and wanting to be a place where people go for content. So I was just on your website and I don't see a tab for content. Your content is in places like podcast and blog and that sort of thing. But you might think about pulling some of that out and actually creating a button that says content. And then you can break it down. You can still have your other tabs, that say blog and podcast, but you also might think about getting some written content, because sometimes people like to come and actually get a written piece in a PDF format. And there's plenty of content out there that's, that's free and what have you. People have it on their websites and everything. And in fact, you may want to invite the community to say, do you have content that you're willing to share? I would suggest you have a vetting process before you put anything like that up there, of course. But just to, to make it more front and center that there's some content that you are providing for people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks for saying that, because that's one of the things I don't usually probably communicate as well. My goal is not to say we're content producing, but that you can get blogs, podcasts, and videos. So changing more from like being more service-based, I guess, to more like you can go there to get that stuff. And I should have said that in blogs, podcasts, and videos is the type of content that you can go and get. So hopefully that's that. I don't know if that might be a little bit more clear.
I understand that you're not a content producer yourself, but I guess what I'm saying is, if you're telling people you have content, even if you're the pass-through of these other kinds of things, then you just might want to tell them, here's where you find your content. Because people look at different things different ways. So I don't think you have to be a content producer yourself.
Okay.
Next, we have Jen Dalton and then John Yu.
So I definitely agree with what Deb is saying. And I think the question would be, what do people expect of your brand right now? And when they go to your website now, making it easy to find expert insight is part of your brand, but that experience may not be quite there yet. So as you go to build Mighty Networks, how do you bridge that gap from how people might perceive you versus reality? I think for the Mighty Networks, or just for any community, my follow-on question would be to think about three things. One is, how do these brands play together? And how do they make sense and complement? Two is, whenever you have a community, you also need a community manager. And so if that's you, that's a lot. If it's finding someone, I would encourage you to hire someone who can specifically run it on brand. And I love Rosemary's point about value. I think the third is curating content. And so how do you make sure that what's on there is the best quality? Because that's going to reflect on your brand too. And I guess my bonus last thought would be, when I look at the community or the network, what's not clear is, what will your members be able to do versus you as the community lead? So if I'm a member, I might want to live stream. I might want to offer courses. I might want to do stuff, but I don't know if that's possible on Mighty Networks or if that's just from you as the community manager. And does that mean you'll have to invite people to be on a live stream with you or to do a course with you? So just some questions to think about. Business owner who does a lot of speaking and creates content. If I could come to your platform and do live streaming and do courses or do things like that and not have to go build my own community, that would be a really powerful value proposition. So I think clarifying that brand and the value proposition will be huge. And I think there's still some infrastructure questions to figure out from a delivery standpoint. But I love the idea, and you've got plenty of content and a huge audience. So it's just the devil in the details.
Got it. Thank you.
Next is John Yu.
Thanks, Melinda. Hey, Gresham, thanks for sharing us your business with us. I think, yeah, I mean, just overall, a lot of good thoughts have been shared. Just my quick question is, are you looking for a particular target audience? Are you looking for a startup? Are you looking for more mature business? Are they targeting B2B, B2C? And I think it sort of aligns with sort of what's the expectation of people that are looking to join the community. I think having that would just really help people to, be more attractive for signing up.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think what I was thinking, initially, at least initially, is having a paid, community related to a specific niche. And that's something I was getting, trying to get more feedback about, like what things are value. I'd been leaning towards doing something in DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. I even thought that, and even read something about, skewing more towards startups or smaller type organizations, largely because you can maybe build a larger base of them. But typically they don't have the money. So it's kind of like a little bit more of a, balancing between the two. But once you build the amount of people, so my thought process was to build a larger community. By building a larger community, you build certain segments, and those segments might be of value to larger brands or people to pay or just things like that. So I was going a lot more broad in the beginning, because the content and the people that have contributed have been a lot more broad. So I've had, like a former CEO of Calvin Klein, but I've also had the local, solopreneurs. So and everything in between. So my thought was to kind of make it broad for the freemium part, and then to have more segmented communities or spaces based off of what was potentially of value to people there. I was leaning towards the DC, Maryland, and Virginia, but I wasn't necessarily like set in stone about that.
Sounds good.
While we've got a quick pause, I was starting to type in some ideas on your community. I love John Yu's idea, and I was thinking that you could do breakout conversations or segmented community conversations. You can do it in your blog, or you could set something up where maybe you set up a Zoom call for your members to meet, or whatever, if it's Microsoft, you can use Microsoft instead. But what I'm thinking is that if you set it up ahead of time by community, and you have something where everybody gets together for 5-10 minutes where you talk to the whole group, maybe it's your orientation that you do on a regular basis once a month, that you do an online orientation, and then you break them down into community. And maybe there's a way even to put mentors together in the communities and really have your community functioning as a way you can find a mentor, you can find others that have the same kind of challenges that you have, and just start putting all these groups together, because it's going to be invaluable services that you can offer that a lot of the chambers try to do, but because they have so many other different types of local businesses, it's hard to do, where you're really going after a different type of business to be part of this community.
Got it. Thank you.
And I now have a hand from Lisa.
Hi, so I remember seeing you talk about this podcasting that you do, I think as far back as when I started my business and started freelancing in 2018. And I guess my question is, what is your why? Like, I've always been intrigued by that. And obviously there's something that you're gaining from doing this podcast, that you're gaining from, and that you see as valuable. And you've invested a lot of energy into building this out. And so I think maybe starting there might help you answer some of the other questions. And you don't have to answer that. And that maybe, maybe that's a germinate kind of question. But just kind of let it sit back there and be like, okay, what is my why? Why do I want to give this time to it every day? You'll hopefully hear about my why next week, but I think that knowing that has helped me make certain decisions about how I will do things. So.
That makes sense. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, hopefully, I'm really passionate a little bit about entrepreneurship and business, and content has been a big way that I've done that. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Actually, you told me, Gresham, that your why was you've been looking for some kind of community that does this. And because you can't find it, you find pieces in all these other groups. You're putting something together that's really containing what you've been looking for and others are looking for.
Yeah.
I think that's your why, because I asked you that question.
Yeah, I didn't lead as much with that, but yeah, it's something that, I've always said entrepreneurship equals hope for me. And a lot of that is because during less than ideal times of my life, it's been, that spirit, I guess, and the people around and being, just hearing somebody's story has really kind of resonated with me in so many different ways. So yeah, I'm just trying to pay that forward.
Anybody else, or is it time to go to Danelle for the final question? I think Danelle, you're up.
Wait,
Wait,
can I
Oh,
ask
wait,
one
I'm sorry, I
question?
didn't see. Yeah, Jen, go ahead. I just saw that come up. Thank you. Jen, you first.
I think as entrepreneurs, we get very excited about launching, which is great. However, we forget to think about what will this look like 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So as you think about the community you're building, you're inviting people on a journey. So I love Lisa's point about the why. So why should they go on the journey with you? But also, what are the big milestones? What do you want to do year 1, year 3, year 5? What will the community look like? Because you do have to paint that vision of a destination to get people excited too. So just something to think about is, what will this look like in year 1, year 2, year 3? You don't have to have all the answers either for year 1. You want to get up and running. What's version 1? What's version 2? I think entrepreneurs sometimes try to solve for everything, and we just need an MVP to get started. So just something to think about.
One more question from Precious.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, are you currently surveying your current followers or communities just to get some feedback on what content they would like to hear as well?
Yeah, that's something I started to do, but I think that's a great idea too. So thank you to kind of remind myself to continue to do that as, because I think, yeah, just doing it at different levels and in different stages, because I think because I've tried to feature people in such a broad base, that's something that could be of value to continue to kind of see where I guess most of the people are leaning towards and what they want and need.
Yeah, and then my only other comment to that is, once you get a couple of answers, maybe you can have content each month based on those responses, so that you're keeping the followers engaged and also in what they want to hear, and they feel like they have a voice in you getting your content together.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and that's one of the reasons I did want to create, because it's so broad. And then I've had people on podcasts, had people on blogs, and my thought was the community might be a way to kind of get a quicker pulse of a community and kind of build from there. So I appreciate that.
That also may work with the idea of doing a monthly orientation, inviting all members to come, and then after you say 10 minutes worth of message, you break it down into individual groups where you can get people together, talking together in the breakout sessions.
Yeah.
Danelle, it's your turn.
I am so grateful for you today for presenting this issue or challenge in building your community, because it's like I said, the same question that I have. And so I have a lot of notes on some things that I can implement, and I would be happy to have a call with you to talk to you about some of the things that we've implemented and some of the things that I learned just by listening to you today. But my final question is, what else can our 1 Million Cup community do for you other than provide this feedback today?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, yes, Donnell, I'll take you up on that for sure. So let's get that on the books. But secondly, I mean, I appreciate everybody's, insight and, anything just related to the community that, if you want to join, if you want to see more, that's always helpful and kind of spreading the word. I do have a daily podcast, so I'm always on the lookout for people to be on the show. So if you know somebody, if yourself, or you say they really have a great story or something that's, special about what it is that they do, I would love to kind of connect with them. But otherwise, I appreciate your time, and thank you so much for doing what you do as well too, because it excites me as much as it might excite you.
Outstanding. Next slide. So next week, this is pretty cool. So another member of our community is presenting her business, and like I've said before, we're constantly learning. And I don't know any business out there that doesn't need help with something in their business, because it's growth, and with growth, comes new knowledge that you need to achieve. And so, thank you, Lisa, for being our presenter next week. We look forward to supporting you.
I look forward to finishing my presentation.
I can't wait to get it to work with you.
If you guys look at the schedule, we have vacancies all throughout the month of June. I know with our fabulous ambassadors, if you guys can put your feelers out there. And for those of you that joined on our call today, I want to invite you to present. No matter how in depth you are with your business right now, we can help you get to that next level. So in order to be able to present, if you look down here in the corner where it says apply and present at, and it says www.1millioncups.com/Fairfax. If you can go in there today and apply, I promise you that myself or my team will help you come up with a challenge question that will help you take your business to the next level. And like I said, we have vacancies in June, so please put your applications in today. Next slide. I just went over this information, but there's more information about becoming a presenter and following our community. And here are some upcoming events. Do we have Lisa on here to talk about any of these?
Jen Rose is not on the call today. Lisa, you may have some events.
I do have one today at noon at Patriots Pub and Grill in Fairfax, right on Main Street. We are having our Fairfax business meetup. It's 1 hour. It's very informal. It is free, but there's also a set menu where you can order lunch, or you can just get a drink. The drinks are $5. I think at the door, the menu is $25. It is fun. The speaker today is actually the executive director for the Lamb Center. They just announced last week they are launching a wonderful new affordable housing program that they want to share with us. So please come on out and learn how we are making a difference in our community through this great effort. So it's a great organization. So if you're nearby, we'd love to see you.
Yes, in fact, does anyone else have any presenter? I mean, have any events?
I have one. If I can jump in really quickly. So if anyone is interested in joining a virtual business development meeting where Molly Fompedith is going to talk about C3 culture and leadership, please email me. She's a fantastic speaker, TEDx, a great local CEO, is building her business like crazy. I think many of you already know Molly. She's been awesome. As I mentioned, it's virtual. So just email me. I'll give you the Zoom link. It is complimentary. So please join us. It is on May 24th for 1 hour from 5 to 6 p.m. So I'll put my email in the chat. If you're interested, please send me a note. Thanks.
Anyone else?
There's an upcoming TEDx talk at the Hamilton in DC on June 9th. I put a link to it in chat. You may find some speakers there that really resonate. So feel free to check it out.
All right. Any other? Okay, I do have an event that I want to share with everyone. I have a Veteran Business Expo that is back in the DMV June 11th. It will be at Fort Meade, and June 18th, it will be at Fort Belvoir. We do have some vacancies available for vendors. You do have to be a veteran, a military spouse, or a dependent to be a vendor, and you have to sell a product. But we're closing out the vendor space on Sunday. We just extended it a couple of days because we have a couple of spots that are still available. But if you know of any veterans or military spouses, when I say veteran, I want to make sure that people understand that our definition at Veterans Growing America is that you have served. And so if you served from 1 year to 20 years, we consider you to be a veteran. But technically, they want you to have served over 6 years to be a veteran. But I believed if you don this uniform and you said that you would give your life for this country, we recognize you for that. And so go to veteransgrowingamerica.com or vgaevents.com to sign up. We're also looking for sponsors. So if you want to sponsor the event, we are looking for a title sponsor for both events, but let me know. Reach out to me. You can find me at info@veteransgrowingamerica.com if you would love to be a sponsor for the event. We also have Leslie, who is one of our organizers. She's going to be a vendor at the event. And we're looking forward. Thank you, Leslie, for being a part of our organization and being a part of our community. And I want to thank every last one of you guys for being here. This has been a passion of ours, for 4 years. And thank you guys for being a part of this every week. We do have a question for Gresham. How does everyone get in touch with you, Gresham? How do we follow you? If you could put that information in the chat.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely put that in the chat. And one other thing, if I could say one quick thing real quick.
Yes.
Melinda, I appreciate you. I know she does a lot of behind the scenes, so my slides did not look anything like that when I sent them back to her. So thank you so much for all the behind the scenes things. I meant to mention that before, so thank you for what you do as well.
You're welcome very much. It's really important how you look, so if I can help, I do. Thank you.
Check that out.
Thank you.
And that's what we believe here is if you don't look good, we don't look good, and so your slides, coming up here, and when we say you, I'm not talking to you, Gresham, but I'm talking to anyone that presents, is we want to make sure that we make you look good, even though your business may not be as big as you like it to be, we want you to look as big as you want to be. Ooh, man, hey, y'all like that? Shoot, I'm a rapper.
I love it. I worked for Vidal Sassoon when they had the line, if you don't look good, we don't look good. So, I mean, I think that way. I was their director of promotions back in those days in California. And maybe that's why I say, if you don't look good, we don't look good. And I think we should use it.
Yeah, I forgot what I just said, but I know it sounded good.